Hey, what are you doing in there? You working on that video yet or what? Hey man, you gotta start that video. I swear to God, if I come in there and you're listening to BTS again. Hey man, you start that video yet or what? What? Yeah, I'll start the video whenever, man. I swear, dude, if I come in there and you're wearing an Iron Man helmet. Bro, I'll get it done then whenever, man. Like, give me a minute. I'm trying to chill in my Iron Man helmet and have some fun, dude. Yo, did you get that video started yet or what, man? Come on. I know you're in there messing around or something. We gotta get subscribers, dude. What? Alright, man, I'll work on the freaking video, okay? Chill out. Alrighty, welcome to my channel. This is gonna be my first video. I figured I'd make it simple. So I figured I'd do a little lightsaber hilt. What you're gonna need, I would say a paper towel roll. I got an extra one just in case. Some scissors, knife, pen or pencil. And then if you can, pick up one of these. They're really nice. Use them to measure and cut with, and you don't mess up your stuff underneath. And of course, you'll also need glue gun. I just use like a low temp one. And some multi-temp glue sticks. So the first thing you want to do is, I don't know about you guys, but I don't like this size for the grip. So what I'm going to do is cut down the middle, try and resize it, glue it together, and then maybe take this, cut a little piece off, and cover up that seam. Okay, now that I cut this, I'm going to try and resize it to maybe about something like that. Alright, so while I'm waiting for the glue gun to heat up, let me kind of explain to you what I'm going to do. So, after I resize this and I glue it together, I'm going to cut pieces around it to make it shaped and look kind of like my own custom lightsaber. I'm not going to make one from the movies, I'm not going to do that. I'm just making a simple video for you guys, so I figured I'd just, make my own custom one, give you an idea of what I do on the channel, and go from there. So I also forgot to mention too, you need extra cardboard. I mean, you can go to the craft store and buy like a bunch of fancy ones. I don't really do that. I just kind of use what I have around the house. So like, for thicker cardboard, I'll use bigger boxes that I got, stuff shipped in. Or if I need thinner stuff, I'll use like a soda can box or something. Whatever. Use what tools you have at home, you know what I mean? You don't have to go out and get anything fancy. You can make cool stuff at home with what you have at your house. I mean, for instance, this here's one of my favorite things that I've made. It's the Omnitrix from Ben 10. I even made a stand for it and everything. The stand, as you can tell, is very thin cardboard. And the Omnitrix itself is rather thick cardboard that I bent to fit my wrist and that I made flexible and stuff. And then I added Velcro to it so I can clasp it together. And I took just wires from something that was broke laying around the house and just split them and glued them on and then painted it. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not, something you'd buy at the store quality, but hey, you make it at home just for fun, there you go. Perfect. Alright, so my glue gun's kind of heated up now. I noticed when I was doing this, I want it about like that or so. And when I do it, it leaves, extra pieces on the end. It's not completely straight. So I'm going to glue it and then I'm going to cut that stuff off and try and size it up to the way that I want it. But I'm making it thinner than I normally would because I'm going to add stuff around the outside. You don't want it to be too thick and then basically you're holding this thing again when you cut it so it wouldn't be like that. Just bear that in mind when you're making stuff like this. You got to kind of think ahead too. I mean, it takes a lot of practice to kind of be able to see that stuff ahead of time too. So I'm going to glue this and see what happens. Okay, Now that I got this glued together, I got the size that I want it. Kind of straightened out the edges a little bit. It's not perfect. I mean, we're not going for perfect here. We're just having fun. But I did think about cutting a piece of this to cover that seam. I might just glue the seam because it's going to generally be hidden anyways. But what I want to do now is I want to make the bottom cap and the top part where the actual saber blade would come out. So in order to do that, I think I'm going to utilize this. I'm going to cut it and fit it around each of these. The top one I'm going to obviously have to adjust and make a flat part on the top. But let me cut little sections of this kind of to what I need for each end and see where I'm at from there. Okay. Now that I have my little, I don't know what you would call these, but my little sections cut. Let me try and get an idea here. So, I guess I kind of want this to be the top. Should this one be shorter or longer? I would say, let's make the shorter one the bottom and the fatter one the top. So basically all I want to do here is cover over this, glue it together. I'm going to have to make a circular piece on the top to make the section for the blade to come out. The bottom, I mean, I might work some magic with it and make it not just look like a cylinder, but it is what it is. And looking at this the way it is now, I was going to try and maybe use thicker cardboard for some of the accents and stuff. I think I'm just going to go with all thin cardboard, except for maybe the actual lightsaber switch. I'll use thicker cardboard for that or something. And depending on how, I don't know, how into it I get with this, I might even really jazz it up and put some wires and stuff in it. I don't know. I'm trying to keep this first video simple, but at least I'm stating the ideas, so if you try and do this at home, you can kind of, do your own stuff and customize it the way you want to. Okay, so I have a pro tip for you as well. I got these glued on. Obviously there's seams and stuff. This isn't going to be my best work. Like I said, this is just going to be my first video, just to kind of introduce you guys to what I'm doing. But pro tip I can give, though, for seams like this that you might not want, you can take and just very gently try and glue them. Put a little line there, all the way around it. So when you paint it, it'll blend in and it won't look so rough and jagged looking. Or if that's what you're going for, I mean, obviously go ahead and keep them, but just a little pro tip for you. Easy way to hide seams is to almost put like a glue weld line across it. And obviously when you paint it, it'll be blended in and you really won't be able to tell. Unless you do too much glue and make it too thick. Kind of like I just did right there at the end. For that, I'm just peeled off a little bit. Alright, so a couple of things here. I glued my seams for this. And I wanted to also give you another little tip. So, let me try and find them. Okay, so you probably won't be able to tell in the video. I'm not sure how clear it's coming out, but when I glued this, I left tiny little air pockets in there. I mean, I'm kind of OCD when it comes to that stuff, so I'll go over and I'll very lightly re-glue them so it's sealed. Because when you paint it, they'll be abundantly clear if you really look up close at it. You'll be able to see those little pockets. You don't want that. And I mean, you might. It's up to you. Like I said, you just do this stuff for fun. It is what it is. I'm a little crazy about that stuff, so I'm definitely going to fix it. I don't know if you can see those, but they're really clear right there. The other thing, always when you're using knives and scissors and stuff, always be careful. Don't be reckless with them. I mean, like I said, if you can get one of these, they're really nice. They won't cut through stuff. And it'll also help you measure a little bit, but it'll also give you a stable area where you can cut easier with. And always use a really sharp knife, but like I said, be very careful with it. I have many scars on my hands to prove that I'm not so careful sometimes. The other thing I wanted to say too, I was trimming my one soda box for some of this thin cardboard, and I noticed I don't know if you can see in the video or not, but there's like a little design here. I might utilize that in the lightsaber, cut it down and make that a section of the lightsaber. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, so at this point of my builds, when I usually have the base idea down of what I want to do, I'll go ahead and I'll start kind of gathering bits and pieces of parts for it, which I did off camera. So, just an idea here. I traced this with a little cup, the bottom of a cup, for the top, for that part. And also, for this, I'm going to use thicker cardboard than this stuff. Just because it's going to be at the top, it's going to be like the main point of where the blade would come out, all that stuff. So I figured I might as well go thicker with it. Also, went ahead and kind of generally traced out a little switch. This here, thinner cardboard. To cap the bottom part, I just traced it, and I'll cut it out and put it on. And then I also cut those little things out of that soda box. I figured I might as well try and utilize them. I did try and put them on here a while and try and, figure out what I'm going to do with it. I'm not quite sure yet, but I know I'm going to have to do some heavy trimming on these. What I'm thinking is somewhere in the middle, like this, and have this where the two parts meet, have that where the switch is, and maybe, I don't know, really severely trim it down like that. I don't know. We'll see. The good thing about these is, whenever you're building something, you kind of just figure it out as you go, and you use your imagination. It just flows together. And, I mean, sometimes what you do when you do it, it doesn't turn out as good as you thought it would be. It is what it is. Like I said, this is just for fun. The whole object of this is to just build something, test yourself, see what your abilities are, and have fun. And I also labeled bottom and top just so I don't get too confused, because I kind of made those a little too similar. But I also went and gathered a little bit of wire. I figured I could maybe put two little things at the top or something. All this stuff is just random wires I had laying around. Obviously, that used to be a part of headphones or something. When I learned when it comes to building this kind of stuff, I usually salvage stuff that's broke. Like, if I have a pair of headphones that break, I'll take the little speakers out, I'll keep the wire, stuff like that. Now, obviously, this is much thicker wire. I'm not sure where I even got it, but it was in the house, laying around. I'm going to utilize it. Alright, so at this point, I went ahead and tried to cut one of these to try and figure out what I'm going to do here. Another pro tip, when it comes to really thin cardboard, you can kind of ever so gently bend it, because this is obviously circular, that's relatively flat. You can just gently bend it and mold it to what you need. If you're careful about it, you won't get too many ripples in the sides and stuff, and it's kind of nice. But at this point, I'm just going to cut out everything I kind of need, and then I'll get back to you guys when I start gluing. As I was cutting this stuff, I thought of another pro tip I could send along to you guys. So, this thicker cardboard and a big pair of scissors, I don't know if it's going to work, and it's kind of hard to describe, but sometimes when you're cutting stuff, it doesn't cut super straight. It'll leave like ragged edges, and especially when you're doing something circular. What you want to do is kind of like, since this is a bigger piece, you kind of want to get the general shape out a while. And like, you see, it's kind of jagged and whatnot. When you do something like this, you want to kind of angle your scissors and go around ever so gently at a very nice, consistent pace. And then you'll get kind of a smoother cut, and it won't be so rough. Now me, I'm trying to do this stuff quickly, so it might still be rough, but at least you get the general idea. And actually, didn't come out too bad. But yeah, pro tip, thicker cardboard, be careful with the scissors. If you want a straighter cut, or smoother cut I should say, especially doing something circular, angle it and cut that way, and you'll get a better surface once you're done. Alright, I just glued the top part onto this, and I don't like the way that looks. It's too thin here, it comes out too wide. I could always go and trim the sides and kind of make it a little more flush, but I don't think it would look right. I kind of want this to be the width of the top. So the cool thing about thin cardboard like this is, what I plan on trying to do, I might have to do multiple layers, I'll go ahead and I'll cut this, kind of like I made these ends, and put it underneath here until I get the thickness that I want, and I might even layer it a little bit, and just see what I can do, make it a little fancier than it looks, because right now, I don't like the way that looks. I'll see what I can do. Now, just an example, I just cut this, I went and matched it up, and it's kind of similar to the way I already cut it. You could do that, and it looks fine. I mean, once you glue the ends, it'll look perfectly fine, and it's kind of better than it was. But what I think I'm going to do is, I'm going to cut it even smaller, and I'm going to do layers with edges that you can see. Maybe it'll add to the allure of it and make it a little fancier looking. I don't know. But I'm going to try it and see what happens and see if it turns out okay. Alright, so as you can tell, trimmed it down a little bit, glued it on there, and it adds a little bit more thickness, and there's a little step there, it looks a little bit better. Also had another idea. After I get all this part set up, and possibly the end set up, I'm going to make a little square piece here, and probably put 2 wires going down, just to add a little something to it. Maybe make this part a little bit better looking. I don't know, we'll see. But for now, I'm going to glue around the edges, cover up these seams a little bit, and then I'm going to start gluing these pieces on. And I figured the way I'm going to do this is, I was going to put them lower, but I'm going to put them right here. I'm going to leave this gap open. And I got a little kitty visiting me right now. What are you doing, buddy? But I'm going to use this for the switch. Put the switch like right here, something. Then maybe I'll do some other details down here. I'm not sure. I might just leave it like this. Like I said, this is just going to be something simple just to give you an idea of what I'm all about. But I'm going to glue this stuff together, and then I'll get back to you guys. So give me a little bit, put some of this together, give you an idea of what I'm doing. Okie dokie, so I did what I said I wanted to do. Glued these seams up a little bit. I added these parts. Now, I did make a mistake, and I'm pointing this out, so if you guys try and do the same thing, obviously you can fix it. I left too much of a big seam. Then the glue hardened underneath, so I couldn't push it together enough with my thumbs. It is what it is. Like I said, I'm just making a simple lightsaber. Just trying to do something quick for you guys, but I'm going to bury it with glue, see what I can do, maybe fix it up a little bit. I did notice I kind of messed up. This freaking seam is like right there in the way, but it is what it is. I glued the bottom on. I left a little extra along the side so I can trim it down, make it nice. I went ahead and cut out my button, my switch, and then I traced it onto where I wanted on the lightsaber. I even might just glue it there. Normally what I would do is cut down in and then slightly have it in and slightly out so it looks more appealing, but I might just glue it the way it is and see what happens. But for now, I think I'm going to glue up these seams, try and pretty it up a little bit, maybe glue the button on, add a little accents down here. I don't think I'm going to put anything in this area. I'm just going to leave it the way it is because it kind of looks cool. Then once I'm done with that, I'll get back to you guys and I'll show you what I'm going to do with them wires. Okie dokie, so, a few things. When I tried to glue this up, didn't come out good. It kind of looks a little rough, but like I said, it is what it is. Normally what I would do with these seams is I'd kind of bury them in glue. I'm going to let them go. A tip I can give though, so the reason why I said to have a sharp knife. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but there's little like leaflets of glue everywhere. What you want to do is just take your knife and just ever so gently like kind of peel it away so it doesn't look so rough. It's almost like sanding but with a knife because it's hard glue. I glued the button on. Little rough gluing there. I mean, you can always take your knife and cut it and form it the way you need it to. But I also, in the meantime, I went ahead and I cut some more thick cardboard out, and I cut out one of these little rectangles by just putting the cardboard up to this, measuring it up with my pen here. I'm going to cut several of these and just glue them at the bottom. Just add a little accent, space them in between, all that fun stuff. Um, oh, the other thing I wanted to show you. So, you notice how you see the inside of that cardboard, and I mean, it is what it is, but if you're trying to go with like some sleek aesthetics, I would suggest gluing along that edge ever so carefully. If you're, quick enough and skilled enough, you can get the glue right in between those gaps and seal it just enough so you can't see the inside of the cardboard, which I'm going to try to attempt to do. Like I said, it is what it is if it doesn't turn out super good. I'm trying to do this quickly, but I'm going to put those on, glue that, then I'll work on the wires, and then I'm probably done, and I'll probably do a second part where I paint this. What I wanted to say and make clear is when you're gluing and building, you always want to think ahead for paint and what's going to look best. So when I'm done gluing this together, I'll take my marker and I'll write what the colors is. Like, this here's probably going to be black. I'll put a B. These are going to be silver. I'll put an S. Just so I can kind of keep like a color palette in my head and I don't mess it up in the end and, paint something the wrong color and then I have to go over and do it again. But I'll get back to you. I'm going to glue these on, glue this up, and then I'll work on the wires, and then I'll probably end the video with that. And I'll make a second part where I paint it and just show you guys a little general thing, maybe some tips on adding some weathering and make it look like it's been used. So I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, so I added the things at the end that I said I was going to. I ended up doing 4 of them. The gluing came out a little rough because I'm trying to hurry up and get it done. I'll fix it once I'm done, but another thing, like I showed you before, you see those little air pockets? If you want to make it sleek, you want to fill them in. I do have a tip for that as well. All you do with the hot glue gun is you take the edge, you don't squeeze the trigger. You just take the edge and then you slowly melt down the edge and try and make it smooth and flat. Now, while I was waiting for that to dry, I cut 2 tiny little squares. I figured what I'll do is put 1 square up here, 1 square as long as this is, so I don't know, somewhere down, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll shorten it up a little bit because it looks a little wonky long like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the square there first, the other one first, and then I'm going to poke holes in it with my knife, and then I'm going to feed the wires through. That's kind of why I did keep them long. I'm going to feed them through, and what I want as the end result is something like this, where only that much is showing. And I might space it out a little bit so it's like that, but that's basically all I want showing. Just so it shows like, oh, there's electricity in it or whatever. Just add a little bit of flair, make it look different than just a cardboard lightsaber. So let me go ahead and try and glue those in and mess around with them and get them the way that I want them to, so only a little bit of the wire showing. And then once I do that and I poke the holes, I'll show you me putting the wire in and stuff. So I'll be right back. Okay, so glued these little patches on. They're kind of messed up. I mean, you can always do cosmetic work at some point and, bury the seams with glue and make it look a little prettier, but all I did was I cut my knife in there, made a little hole, and I used my pen up to here and just kept poking them in to make them a little easier to put the wires in. So I take my wires and try and gently put them in there. And then this one, hopefully it goes in. This hole doesn't seem very good. Okay, cool. So then boom. you only have a little bit of the wire sticking out, and it just looks a little different, you know what I mean? It looks a little bit better. But on that note, I'm going to end this video for now. Oh, I also wanted to show you, I glued this part. I was carefully, doing it so it would, cover the holes but not leave any openings. And that's that. She's pretty much done. All we need to do is paint. And actually, I'm not going to end the video quite yet. We're going to do the color palette real quick. So, I'm going to do silver for these, black for that. I'm going to say probably black for that. We're going to do silver for this, black for these little things. Probably black on the bottom, even though that B is for the bottom. I'll just use it as a reference for black. Let's see, we'll do black in this gap here, all the way along. Then I might do both of these silver, so just do that. And then obviously the top, silver. Maybe do this little piece of cardboard black after I fix them up. I'll do that after the video. I'll go in there and touch them up, make them look a little bit better. And then I will be back to you guys with another video of me painting it. And then once it's painted, I'll show you how to weather it a little bit and make it just look like it's been used and it's not a brand new lightsaber straight from the Jedi Academy. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I present you with a simple lightsaber made of cardboard. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure the notification bell's on so you can get all my newest videos when they come out. Because I'm going to continue to make more. And I'm going to make more in-depth ones and not so rushed. This is my first one, so I'm just trying to work out the kinks. I'm recording on my phone because I don't have an expensive camera. So I got to do this in sections and then edit it together and all that fun stuff. So I was just trying to rush and just give you a general idea of how you build, give you some tips along the way, and let you, see the end product. I think it came out pretty good for me rushing it. Doesn't look bad at all. And once I paint it, it'll look twice as good. So, like I said, people, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching if you did. I'll see you next time.